Yo guys, welcome back to a brand new PTCGO video. Today's video, guys, we're going to be looking at the best theme decks to get within PTCGO. And if you're new to the game, this video will help you out, hopefully. There's 5 theme decks that I've chosen, basically based on how good they are, what's in them, and also just kind of what the community thinks the best theme decks are. So it's going to be a bit of a top 5-ish video, so stick around for all that goody stuff. So we're going to start things off here with my considerably lowest ranked theme deck on this list, and that's going to be this Torrential Cannon deck. Now, spoiler alert, the best theme deck is a fire-based theme deck, and Torrential Cannon, some people say, is a good theme deck to pick up if you're not going to want to play the best theme deck. Because there is a theme deck in this game that's like considered like the best theme deck. It's like almost untouchably good. And this theme deck some people recommend because it's got some good backup attackers to deal with some of these fire types in one of the best theme decks. And you do have Blastoise with Powerful Squall, being able to look at the top 6 cards of your deck, take any number of waters you find there, and you attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. So when you get Blastoise in play, and use his ability, along with the fact that you play 20 water energies, you can easily get energy in play on your attackers. We have stuff like Golduck here with Amnesia. We also have Swim. If any of your opponent's Pokemon have any water energy attached to them, you may do 90 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon instead of they're active. So you have this backup attacker with Golduck, and you have Blastoise to build your board up. You also have this Pidgeot here with Whirlwind and also Spin Storm. Your opponent puts their active Pokemon, all cards attached to it, into their hand. You can kind of use this to slow them down if they ended up setting up something big. You also have Pidgeotto to help you set up too with Airmail. It's also a pretty good card for budget decks too. Having Pidgeotto is a really good card, and Airmail can help you set up quite a bit. We got some decent items like Timer Ball and Nest Ball to build your board up. The supporters aren't terrible either. I do like the Cynthias. Cynthia's another really good card to get for the standard format because it's a staple in decks, like as a 4 of basically. So getting a couple Cynthia is really good if you buy this theme deck. And you also get Copycat and Brock's Grit. Brock's Grit not so much very good in here, but you can get your Pokemon back so you can try to keep them going. And you get stuff like Copycat and you get How. It's pretty simple stuff. The Cynthia is pretty good though. And you also get Fan Club and Professor Kikui. Kikui is no longer in Standard, so you can't use this in Standard, but it is still decent in this theme deck. So it's a nice water theme deck. It counters considerably the best theme deck in a small way. Not guaranteed an auto win, but it is a nice deck to pick up. Blastoise is also a pretty cool card too to have for Standard sometimes. And again, getting the Cynthias are pretty cool too. So yeah, this is kind of like the lowest ranked theme deck on my top 5 list for the best theme decks to get. And we're going to move into what the next best theme deck is. Alright, so the next best theme deck that I have chosen here is actually the newest one from Unified Minds. This is going to be Laser Focus. Now, Laser Focus is a pretty cool theme deck because, one, you actually get Malamar, which is really, really good. You also get the new Necrozma, and this deck also gives you Cynthia's too, and it gives you Lily, and even stuff like U-Turn Board, and you can use Weak Guard Energy with Necrozma, and you can actually make this card do 160 damage. One of the nice things about Laser Focus is obviously that you have an energy acceleration system, much like the Blastoise version. Malamar is a really nice card right now in Standard, so not only do you get a couple Malamars, you can also build yourself a Malamar Necrozma deck kind of just off of this theme deck alone. You can already get a couple pieces of that, and getting a couple Malamar is always nice, and Malamar being able to use its ability Psychic Recharge to attach a Psychic Energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. It's a really good way to kind of build up some attackers, and you can also build up your Necrozma, who's the main boy of the deck. It's actually got the attack special Laser, which does 160 damage if this Pokemon has a special energy attached to it. So if you have that Weak Guard energy in the attached to your Necrozma, you actually will do 160 damage, which is really solid. And again, you can build this Necrozma pretty easily thanks to Malamar, and it can hit like a truck. 160 is good damage. Having this Silvally can be kind of cool too. You can do 3 for 120. You got Avenging Heart too. You got this Gumshoes. And the nice thing about the theme deck format is there is no GXs or EXs to really worry about. So you can actually just use Alert Headbutt. 90 for 2 energy is pretty decent too. You get this Tauros, which ain't great, but it does do 2 for 60. The Mesprit's pretty cool too. Being able to fill your bench up with 3 basic Pokemon is always nice. And even Audino being able to draw a card if it's active. So this is a pretty solid theme deck. It's not spectacular. You do get some pretty good staples though, like Mysterious Treasure, like Cynthia, like Lily, like Switch. Taint Liza and U-Turn Board is also really nice, and getting those Malamars is good. Like, this is a great theme deck to pick up if you want to build a Malamar deck in Standard, because you already get 2 Malamars, you get 2 Inkays. Even getting these Necrozmas are nice, because Necrozma, Recycle Energy, Malamar could be a really fun budget Malamar deck to build if you are just starting off on PTCGO and you want to go into Standard. Getting the Treasures is also good. Treasure is another great card in the new format right now. And getting the Cynthias and Lilies is really nice too. Basically all the supporters in here, except for the Bugcatcher and the How, are just really good cards. Like, even Fan Club can come in handy too for budget decks. And the U-Turn Borns are pretty cool too. So this is a pretty solid theme deck. You have some Energy Acceleration with Malamar. You do pick up quite a few staples for the Standard format if you buy this deck too, which is pretty good. And most of your attackers are pretty solid. Gumshoes, Silvally. In the theme deck tournament, in the theme deck format, this deck is good. In Standard, not so much, but getting those Malamars can be good. And then all you have to do is figure out a way to get the other Malamar-based Pokemon. But it's a good deck to pick up if you want to build Malamar. And in the theme deck tourney, it's not bad either. So, or the theme deck I keep saying theme deck tourneys, but you can play this deck in a theme deck tourney, even though there is the be-all end-all of the theme decks. But this deck is definitely a good theme deck to pick up if you're looking for some Malamar pieces, which is, at best right now, one of the best decks in the Standard format. So yeah, that's kind of the number 4 spot, and we're getting to the top 3. Next up on this list, we have the theme deck Mock Strike. And Mock Strike is a cool theme deck because it's based around Garchomp, and Garchomp is a pretty cool card. So it's got the attack Royal Blades. If you play Cynthia from your hand during this turn, this is 200 damage. And this deck does indeed play Cynthia. It plays 2 Cynthia, and it's even got a Pal Pad to get those Cynthias back into the deck. And you get a lot of decent cards in this. For the theme deck tourney, having Nest Balls, Timer Balls, and Stretcher, Pal Pad, the Cynthia, they're all pretty good cards. Now, in the Standard format, you can't use Escape Rope, Nest Ball, or Stretcher, or Timer Ball, or Kukui anymore. You can't use any of those cards anymore in the Standard format right now. But all, like, the attackers are pretty good. The Garchomp being the big one. Royal Blades is just a nice, really strong attack when you get it built up and when you're consistently getting your Cynthias, and you're doing Cynthia. Because once you get a Garchomp play, if you use Lucario from this theme deck with Precognitive Aura, you can search your deck for any card you want. So if you have a Garchomp play, you search your deck for any card you want, and that can be your Cynthia, it can be your Pal Pad, it can be energy to build your board up. You get Hippowdon in here too. Not the best card, but I guess it gets the job done in some ways. You get stuff like Luna or Soul Rock, draw 2 cards, maybe help you set up. Really though, this deck kind of functions around the idea of using Garchomp, and having Lucario is pretty nice. It's also a decent beginner theme deck to get, because this Garchomp Lucario deck in Standard could be a really cool budget deck to try out in the new format. Getting the Cynthias are nice. Compared to the Malamar theme deck, you're not getting as much bang for your buck right now in the Ultra Prism and on format that we are in right now, but you are still getting yourself a pretty decent and solid theme deck that can get the job done, and just having the Cynthia can be nice. It's not a bad theme deck, it really isn't. In the theme deck format, this theme deck is decent to play, and I would recommend picking it up. You can do quite a bit with it. Again, that Lucario Garchomp combo, get any card you want, is really good. And I think what makes this theme deck kind of cool. Picking up a couple Garchomps isn't bad either if you're going to try to build a Garchomp budget deck in Standard. So, yeah, we got the theme deck Mock Strike here. Definitely a pretty solid theme deck. It's not bad. It's not bad. And again, you get the Cynthias. You can't use in Standard right now Nest Ball, Escape Rope, or Stretcher, or Timer Ball. Those are not going to be useful in Standard anymore because rotation. But getting Cynthia is nice. But this is just a nice pickup for the theme deck format. And, yeah. It's a pretty solid deck is really all I have to say. And we're going to get into our top 2. It's a huge jump from our number 2 spot to our number 1 spot. But we're getting to the top 2 now. And we'll see what that is. Alright guys, coming in at the number 2 spot for the best theme decks to get on this game, we have the Steam Deck Stormcaller. Now, one of the nice things about the Steam Deck is the Pokemon variety that we have to work with. So we have Zebstrika, we have Ampharos. Ampharos is also a really good Pokemon to constantly just keep paralyzing the opponent. With that ability, Unseen Flash, you may put 2 light energies from your hand in the Lost Zone. If you do, your opponent's active is now paralyzed. The nice thing about that, you also charge up for Raiku's attack, Lost Voltage, which does 90 damage if you have any lighting in the Lost Zone. So combo that with Ampharos, you actually have a really cool loop going with these 2 cards. And that is one of another really cool thing about this deck is that combo between these 2. Also, being able to spam Paralysis is really good. Split Bomb does 2 for 50 damage to your opponent's Pokemon. That's not bad either. You can potentially set up multiple things to be KO'd. You also get Substrika. Substrika's got the ability Sprint, so you have some kind of draw acceleration in this deck. Substrika's also a pretty good card to pick up for beginner budget decks. You also get Naganadels. Naganadels a pretty solid card too. It sees play in quite a few decks right now in our standard format, and this thing can keep getting energy onto itself from the discard pile with charging up, and even Turning Point on the right turn can do a lot of damage. So Naganadels really easy to build up, and you get 2 of them, which is pretty good if you're trying to get into the standard format and you want to build like Dark Box or Bucephalon or something, and you're trying to get into that stuff. Naganadel, you get 2 of them right off the bat. Again, with the items, you can't use Ultra Ball, you can't use Nest Ball or Rescue Stretcher or Escape Rope in our format anymore. You can't use Kikui, you can still use Copycat, you can still use Tame Liza, you can still use Fan Club and Lily and stuff like that. So this is a pretty solid theme deck. Is it the best? Not really. If you're unable to really spam that Ampharos and not get it up quick enough for even Raikou to do 120, this deck can fall behind a little bit. But it's really not a bad theme deck at all. You get quite a few good things to work with, like stuff like the Smeargle and like obviously the Furfrou. They're not very good, but having the Naganadel, Raikou, Ampharos, and even having that ability Sprint is really cool. So this is a pretty solid theme deck to pick up. You also get some pretty good cards for standard like Naganadel, and that is pretty sweet too. So yeah, Stormcaller's at our number 2 spot. And I'm going to have some honorable mentions before we get into the number 1 spot, which the number 1 spot, by the way, is like definitively the best theme deck. There's almost no competition. Even our number 2 spot cannot really beat our number 1 spot. The number 1 spot is by far the best theme deck on this game. Like, the amount of people that, you know, say it's the best is just wild. This is going to be nuts. But I do have some other decks I want to quickly talk about. Okay, so I have 2 honorable mentions I want to talk about. The first one's going to be Soaring Storm. The reason I'm talking about this, because this theme deck can get you some decent stuff. You get Dragonite, you get Pidgeotto, which are nice. We also get some pretty good staples for the standard format right now. You get a Tame Liza, you get 2 Fan Clubs, you get 2 Lilies, you get 2 Cynthias, and you also get some Pokemon Communications, which are also pretty good cards, because Pokemon Communication right now is like a 4 of in almost like most decks, so you're picking up some good staples for standard. Is it the greatest theme deck in the world? Not really. You do have that little Thunderous Tornadus combo, so that's kind of cool. You get this Lantern here too. But I just like the stuff you get in this theme deck. You get some decent beginner stuff like Pidgeotto, and you also get like Pokemon Communications, and you get a decent amount of supporters, which I like. And the other honorable mention that I have for you guys is going to be, where is it? Battlemind. And the reason I've chosen Battlemind is just really, it's not like that great of a theme deck in general, but one of the reasons why I do like it is you do get a lot of staples. You get 2 Lookers. Most importantly, though, you get 2 Welder. So if you're trying to build a good fire deck for standard or a good fire budget deck, having Welder is pretty nice to have. And you also get Cynthias and Lilies and Lookers and Welders. So you actually get a good amount of stuff in here to help you out. You get Salazzle, so some decent like fiery budget stuff. The Mewtwo itself is not even that great of a card, but you can get your Spore back, so you can kind of keep the Welders. This theme deck ain't terrible. Again, just having the Welders I think is pretty nice if you're trying to build a nice budget fire deck in standard. So that's why I chose this as another honorable mention. Just because the stuff you get in these 2 theme decks, I think it's pretty good to pick up if you're trying to get into the standard format. Now we're getting our number 1 spot now, and yeah, this one is definitively the best deck to get, no questions asked. Alright guys, coming in at the number 1 spot is Relentless Flame. So pretty much everywhere PTCGO theme deck related conversations are always going to bring up this theme deck, Relentless Flame. This theme deck is insane. This is an insane theme deck. A lot of this theme deck is revolved around Charizard. That's why a lot of people know that this theme deck is just broken. Roaring Resolve. Once during turn, before you attack, you may search your deck for 2 fire energies, attach a Charizard. If you do, you gotta put 20 damage on it, so then it'll have 130 HP. But the fact that it can self-accelerate itself, and you can also put an energy for your turn, this thing just one-shots everything in its path in this format. And once you get the Charizard in play, you pretty much dominate. And you even have support with like Nidoqueen. Power Lariat is a pretty strong attack. Queen's Call is also pretty good to find your Charizards and everything if you get Nidoqueen in play. And you have all these other things like Nest Balls and Timer Balls, and you get good draw supporters with Cynthia, Copycat, Brock's Grit, QE, just all these supporters to help you out. And like even Rapidash having agility can be really annoying if you keep constantly getting heads. This theme deck is just insane. This is the best theme deck on PTCGO. A lot of people say in the theme deck discussions that this is the best theme deck. It's overpowered. Some people are just like tired of how good this theme deck honestly is within the theme deck format. So if you're trying to pick up a good theme deck, this is the one to get. this is the one. All the ones below, they're good. You know, some of them you can get some good staples for standard, like Mysterious Treasures, Pokemon Communications, and stuff like that. But with this theme deck, if you're just trying to dominate the theme deck meta and just win a lot of games, this is the theme deck to pick up. Anyone who's not really playing a deck like this, I mean, they don't stand a chance. Like, once you get Charizard in play, you power it up every single turn thanks to its ability. You can find it through Nidoqueen and Timer Ball, so you can easily get your Charmeleons into Charizards really quickly. And even Nidoqueen itself can be a good backup attacker. Power Lariat is pretty strong because you have a lot of evolutions in your deck with Rapidash. And again, Rapidash even could be annoying too. So yeah, this is the best theme deck, Relentless Flame. Best one hands down. If you want to get a theme deck and you just want to win games, get this theme deck. You don't get many staples for standard outside of the Charizard, which could be a decent budget deck. But like, this theme deck is just like definitively the best one. It'll win you so many games, it's nuts. But yeah, that is, in my opinion, what the best theme decks are in this game. So within this video, hopefully it helped you guys. I just wanted to give you guys an insight as to which ones are the best. And just showing you guys, you know, if you want to get wins in the theme deck format, or if you're just trying to maybe pick up some good staples for standard, so like getting those Welders, Mysterious Treasures, Pokemon Communications, Cynthias and Lilies, and even Looker. They're all nice cards to pick up for standard. So in this, hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching the video. If you did, leave a like on it, subscribe down below to help me on the road to reaching 6,000 subs or whatever we're at, and thanks for watching. Hope this video helped you out if you're new to the game, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye-bye.